don't know what it is about Alex Eames, but he seems to produce Kickstarters that I just want to buy. He's done several electronic style Kickstarters. This is one that has just arrived at my house. As you see, it has a Raspberry Pi 0W in there, which we'll come back to later. And this one's called RasPiO InsPiRing. Now, as you know, I love LEDs, and this is a ring of multicolour LEDs that he has designed the board for and had made. So that was part of the project. And then the controller part of the project is this relatively simple little setup here. So it's a little hat that goes on top of a, I don't know the name for all of these, a little hat that goes on top of your Raspberry Pi. And it seems to just have a buffer chip in it, which enables you to use, send out the, I think it's IC2 or SLI signals out to the little multicolour LEDs, which are all intelligent in their own right. So you can address these all individually and get some really cool special effects with it. So there's not a lot to building this kit. Obviously this board can be used for several other things as well. There's the header, which is going to be relatively complicated to solder on, but you don't need to solder on every single joint, only the ones that you need. Then there's a chip, a chip carrier for the for the buffer chip. A couple more headers, a couple of resistors, and some interconnecting wire as well. So I shall probably build these. These are quite simple to build. I'll probably just do a fast forward of building this, and then later on, maybe in a second video, I'll try and connect it up to the Pi. But I just thought I'd introduce this to you in this first video as it had just arrived. So part of Alex's Kickstarter is that he always provides a great amount of information about the projects. So the RasPiO's got its own, the RasPiO InsPiRing's got its own little instruction manual and a little website. And he also provides videos as well, so I don't really know why I'm doing this video, but I am anyway. I did just check the video because I was a bit confused about why these two resistors are optional. And it appears that some of the LEDs that you might want to drive need these two resistors, and you have to solder those between some of the pins here and here. I'm not going to do that in mine because I'm only going to use this system with the one that he supplied, which I'll come back to later on as to what I'm going to do with that. So he starts by talking about, on one of the many pages, I think it's around about there, he starts by talking about using this little piece of blue tack to make sure that this board this socket pushes right to that to the RasPiO logo there, just so that you gain access afterwards to these little sockets here. So I'm just going to start by soldering that in, and the rest I'm just going to do quickly because there's not a lot to produce in this board at all. Okay, there you go. That really wasn't hard to do. Funnily, it's probably had more solder joints than some of the other kits that I've built recently, but because they were just all on this header, it wasn't that bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the Raspberry Pi that I get with it before I put this chip into here. I'm going to take the Raspberry Pi and I'm going to solder the header into this as well, but I don't have any double headers, so I'm going to use 2 sets of single headers. I'm going to put them in this one, then push them together and then solder them so it makes sure that all of these line up. So I'll just go and get some headers. So you can buy 1 million of these for 99p on eBay. So I think I'm just about going to be able to get both sides off this, so I'll just put it in there so I can count and snip that. Whoops. Then get it from Nebraska. So that should go into one of them. And then I'm just using this to make sure I get these aligned, because I've not got double socketed ones. So this should make sure that they get perfectly aligned, and also protect the Pi a little bit when I'm building it. Although it's not going to protect it that much. Now, one hopes, this is where I always mess it up, the header goes on the top. I'm sure it does. Let's put the header on there. Yeah, the top of the board on the silk screen has got that pattern for the header there, so I assume that that's correct. In we go, and then let's just fast forward this again. Okay, so there's the completed set of boards. Maybe there's a reason why you can buy those headers so cheaply, because they were not taking the solder well. But hopefully I've got all those connected now. And in part 2, I'm going to boot the Pi and get this working with the LED ring.